implementation defined. Curriculum implementation means putting into practice the written curriculum that has been designed in syllabus, course of study, curricular guides, and subjects. According to Ornstein and Hankins in 1998, define curriculum implementation as the interaction between the curriculum that has been written and planned and the persons who are in charge to deliver it. According to them, curriculum implementation implies the following. First, shift from what is current to a new enhanced curriculum. Then second, change the knowledge, actions, attitudes of the persons involved. Third, change in behavior using new strategies and resources. And lastly, the change which requires efforts, hence goals should be achievable. Lukes and Lieberman 1983 defined curriculum implementation as trying out of a new practice and what it looks like when actually used in a school system. In the classroom context, curriculum implementation means teaching what has been written in the lesson plan. In a large scale, curriculum implementation means putting the curriculum into operation with different implementing agents. Curriculum implementation as a change process, Kurt Levin's force field theory and curriculum change. According to Kurt Levin in 1951, is the father of social psychology explains the process of change. The model can be used to explain curriculum change and explanation. In the education landscape, there are always two forces that oppose each other. These are the driving force and the restraining force. When two forces are equal, the state is what we call equilibrium or balance. There will be a status quo, hence there will be no change. However, when the driving force empowers the restraining force, then the change will occur. If the opposite happens, that is, when the restraining force is stronger than the driving force, change is prevented. For example, in our driving forces we have government intervention, society's values, technological changes, knowledge explanation, and administrative support. While in our restraining forces we have fear of the unknown, negative attitude to change, tradition values, limited resources, and obsolete equipment. So based on that example, according to Levin, change will be better if the restraining forces shall be decreased rather than increasing the driving force.
The categories of a curriculum change. So according to McNeil 1990, so it is categorized curriculum change as follows. First, substitution. The current curriculum will be replaced or substituted by a new one. So sometimes we call this a complete overhaul. For example, changing an old book into an entirely new one. We're not merely a revision, so it means changing an old book to an entirely new one, pero dili siya revised. Another example for substitution kay ang teacher kay gi-require siya nga mag-print og new textbooks from old one. Second, alteration. In alteration, there is a minor change to the current or existing curriculum. For example, instead of using a graphing paper for mathematics teaching, so this can be altered or changed by using a graphing calculator. So, improve or mas advanced. Another example for alteration is kanang mag-improve assignment. So, they can use a word processor instead of using a paper and pen in making an assignment. Furthermore, ang kalahian sa alteration sa substitution is ang substitution is i-replace ang old one with one, while ang alteration is mag-introduce siya ka og mga minor changes sa current one. Third, reconstruction. Building a new structure with major change or modification in the school system, degree program, or educational system. Using an integrated curriculum for the whole school for K-12 requires the primary and secondary levels to work as a team. Another example that a curriculum will be restructured when there is a significant involvement of a parents in the child's instead of leaving everything to the teacher. This is using the in-school or off-school or blended curriculum, an example of reconstruction. Another example for restructuring is kanang teaching method from teacher-centered to learner-centered. Fourth, perturbations. These are the changes that are disruptive, but teachers have to adjust to them with a fairly short time. For example, the principal changes the time schedule because there is a need to catch up with the national testing time, or the dean shortens schedule to accommodate unplanned extracurricular activities. Another example for perturbations is some classes or subject will be interrupted due to school activities or programs, but it will be adjusted shortly. Lastly, we have value orientation. According to McNeil, this is a type of curriculum change. Perhaps this qualification will respond to shift in the emphasis that the teacher provides which are not within the mission or vision of the school or vice versa. For example, new teachers who are recruited in religious schools give emphasis on academics and forget the formation of values or faith, need a curriculum value orientation. Likewise, all teachers in the public schools undergo teacher induction program, which is a special curriculum for a newly hired teachers. Another example for value orientation is introducing new subject or removing existing subject. So, regardless of the kind of change in curriculum and implementation, the process of change may contain three important elements. As a process, curriculum implementation should be developmental, participatory, and supportive. It should be developmental in the sense that it should develop multiple perspectives, increase integration, and make learning autonomous, create a climate of openness and trust, appreciate, and affirm strengths of the teacher. There should be a teacher support in trying new tasks, reflection on the new experiences, and challenge. For curriculum implementation to succeed, it should be participatory, especially because other stakeholders like peers, school leaders, parents, and curriculum specialists are necessary. Characteristics of teacher styles, commitment, willingness to change, skills, and readiness are critical implementation. Lastly, supportive curriculum implementation is required in the process of change. Material support like supplies, equipment, conductive learning environment like classrooms and laboratory should be made available. Likewise, human support is very much needed. The school head or a leader should provide full school or institution support in the implementation of the new curriculum. Time is an important commodity for a successful change process. For any innovation to be fully implemented, period of 3 to 5 years to institutionalize a curriculum is suggested.
Good day everyone, I am Jenjena Corridilla, and this time I'm gonna be discussing about the features and stakeholders in curriculum implementation. And first, we'll talk about the features of a curriculum. So there are 6 features of a curriculum. So the first one is who teaches. So the answer is the teacher. Good teachers bring a shining light into the learning environment. They are ideal companions of the learners. So with the advance in communication technology, good teachers are needed to sort out the knowledge from the information, but even more important, excellent teachers are needed to sort the wisdom from the knowledge. So teachers are the one who teaches the learners. The second features of a curriculum is who do the teachers teach? So the answer is the learners. The learners are at the center stage in educative process, the most important factor in the learning environment. Teachers are needed to understand and accept their diverse backgrounds. Each one of them is a unique individual coming from different backgrounds orientations, and most especially different experiences. So the third features of a curriculum is what do the teacher teach? So it is the knowledge, skills, and values. So the learning episodes influences the teaching and learning process. The teachers are expected to prepare his or her syllables or a course of study as his vehicles of instruction. The learning goals, the instructional procedures, and the content must be clearly explained to the students. There must be a balance of theory and practice. Therefore, the learner's sustained interest to the subject matter should be relevant and meaningful. So the fourth features of a curriculum is how do the teachers teach? So how do the teachers teach? It is by set strategies and methods. So researchers show that there is no best strategy that could work in a million different student background and characteristics. However, for teachers to teach effectively, they must be used appropriate methodologies, approaches, and strategies with compassionate and winsome nature. Teachers should select teaching methods, learning activities, and instructional materials or resources appropriate to learners and align to objectives of the lesson. The fifth features of the curriculum is how much of the teaching was learned. So it is the performance, because at the end of the teaching act, it is necessary to find out if the objective sets were accomplished. So in the curriculum, this is what we call learning outcomes, which indicates the performance of both teachers and the learners. The learning outcomes are the product performance of the learners as the result of teaching. Because a good curriculum is the one that best or are the one results in high or excellent performance. So the last features of the curriculum is with whom do we teach. So with whom do we teach? It is to our community partners. It is because teaching is a collaborative undertaking, while teachers are the focal point of the learning process. They must draw upon the resources of their environment and of their partners to be effective. Teachers should establish a relationship with parents, the NGOs or the NGO, and of course, their stakeholders. So now that we're done discussing about the features of a curriculum, and now let's proceed to the stakeholders in curriculum implementation. So there's a lot of stakeholders in curriculum implementation. So here the first one is learners at the center of the curriculum. So this is true because learners are considered to be the center of the curriculum because it is all about what learner brings to the learning experiences. So the focus shift from teacher-centered to the student-centered. Since that we're living in a modern technology in the 21st century, and now we are now already student-centered, wherein students or the learners are given a chance and privilege to take over or take control of their own learning processes. So the second stakeholders is teachers as curriculum developers and implementers. So teachers play a vital role in curriculum development because as they bring their expertise, their experiences, and also their knowledge to their students to shape in curriculum. So they provide valuable input in identifying learning objectives, selecting content, and designing appropriate instructional strategies of their students. The third stakeholders is curriculum managers and administrators. So curriculum managers manages the design and development of the training programs, curriculum, methods, and materials for various audiences, including employees, managers, customers, or other learners. The fourth stakeholders in curriculum implementation is parents as supporters of the curriculum. So parents are supporters of the curriculum because they themselves develop the sense of ownership of the schools where their children are. The fifth stakeholders in curriculum implementation is community members as curriculum resources. So community members may provide materials in the existing local community that can very well substitute for what are needed to implement in the curriculum.
So what is evaluation? So evaluation is the process of collecting data on a program to determine its value or worth with the aim of deciding whether to adopt, reject, or revise the program. So programs are evaluated to answer questions and concerns of various parties. The public wants to know whether the curriculum implemented has achieved its aims and objectives. Teachers want to know whether what they are doing in the classroom is effective, and the developer or planner wants to know how to improve the curriculum product. McNeil 1977 states that curriculum evaluation is an attempt to throw light on two questions. Do the program develop and organize actually produce desired results, or how can the curriculum offerings best be improved? Ornstein and Hankins 1998 defined curriculum evaluation as a process or cluster of processes that people perform in order to gather data that will enable them to decide whether to accept, change, or eliminate the curriculum. Worden and Sanders 1987 defined curriculum evaluation as the formal determination of the quality, effectiveness, or value of a program, product, project, process, objective, or curriculum. Day 1985 argues that the aim of curriculum evaluation is to identify its weaknesses and strengths, as well as problems encountered in implementation, to improve the curriculum development process, to determine the effectiveness of the curriculum, and the returns on finance allocated. So according to Leva in 1988, defined curriculum evaluation as the process of delineating, obtaining, and providing useful information for judging decision alternatives, either to maintain the curriculum as is, to modify the curriculum, or to eliminate the curriculum. Evaluation is a discipline inquiry to determine the worth of things. Things may include programs, procedures, or objects. Generally, research and evaluation are different, even though similar data collection tools may be used. The three dimensions on which they may differ are: first, evaluation need not have as its objective generation of knowledge. Evaluation is applied while the research tends to be basic. Second, evaluation presumably produces information that is used to make decisions or form the basis of policy. Evaluation yields information that has immediate use, while research need not. Third, evaluation is a judgment of worth. Evaluation results in value judgments, while research need not, and some would say should not.
Good evening everyone, I am Jelor Tagalog and I'm going to tackle about the formative and summative evaluation. So as mentioned earlier, evaluation is the process of determining the significance or worth of program or procedures. Shriven 1967 differentiated evaluation as formative and summative evaluations. However, they have come to mean different things to different people. But this evening, I'm just going to tackle the different definition by Shriven for the formative and summative evaluation. Now first, let's talk about formative evaluations. The term formative indicates that the data is gathered during the formation or development of the curriculum. Formative evaluations may include determining who needs the program, how great is the need, and how to meet the need. In education, the aim of formative evaluation is usually to obtain information to improve a program. formative evaluation, experts would evaluate the match between the instructional strategies and materials used and the learning outcomes or what it aims to achieve. For example, it is possible that in a curriculum plan, the learning outcomes and the learning activities do not match. You want students to develop critical thinking skills, but there are no learning activities provides opportunities for students to practice critical thinking. By experts, formative evaluation is useful before full-scale implementation of the program. Review by experts of the curriculum plan may provide useful information for modifying and revising the selected strategies. In formative evaluations, learners may be included to review the materials to determine if they can use the new materials. For example, so they have the relevant prerequisite and they motivated to learn. From these formative reviews, problems may be discovered. For example, in curriculum document may contain spelling errors, confusing sequence of content, inappropriate examples or illustrations, and inappropriate examples or illustrations. The feedback obtained could be used to revise and improve instructions or whether or not to adapt the program before full implementations. Now, we're done talking about the formative evaluations and now we're going to proceed the summative evaluations. So the term summative indicates that the data is collected at the end of the implementation of the curriculum program. Summative evaluations can occur just after the new course materials have been implemented in full, or in several months, or 2 years after the materials have been implemented in full. It is important to specify what questions you want to answer by the evaluations and what decisions will be made as a result of the evaluation. You may want to know if the learners achieved the objectives or whether program produced the desired outcomes. For example, the use of specific simulations software in the teaching of geography enhance the decision-making of the decision-making skills of the learners. These outcomes can be determined through formal assessment tasks such as marks obtained in tests and examinations. Also of concerns is whether the innovation was cost effective. Was the innovation efficient in the terms of time completion? Were there any unexpected outcomes? Or besides quantitative data to determine how well students with specified objectives, data could also include qualitative interviews, direct observations, and documents analysis. So that's all for formative and summative evaluations, and hope you gain learnings from me, and thank you.